Today, I'm gonna give you the most important advice you need to get that lean and toned look you're after. Hey, this is Colin DeWaay. If you want to get in great shape and you want to do so by including your favorite foods, then make sure you hit that subscribe button and I'll make sure to help you get there. Okay, let's get this out of the way right up front because I know it's going to come up, and that is the word toned. A lot of people get triggered by this and say that tone doesn't exist, which basically tone just means more muscle and less body fat, but I know what you mean when you say things like toned. You want some well-defined muscles, but just not necessarily looking to get overly big and bulky or super shredded. You're just looking to get in pretty decent shape. And the good news is this video is going to help you whether you are looking to get more toned or leaner or even completely shredded. All this advice will work for you. The only question is how much body fat you need to lose to get the look you're after, and the leaner you want to get, the more dieting you're going to have to do to lose the fat and get your look. So with all that being said, if you know you need to build muscle to get a lean or toned look, well, you need to be strength training. Don't let this scare you, especially ladies. I promise you're not going to build more muscle than you want to. You're not going to all of a sudden get big and bulky by accident. Building muscle is hard. It takes a lot of time, and it takes years of training hard and optimizing nutrition and doing everything you can to build. Hell, I've been training for almost 14 years now, and like, sure, I've got some muscle, but I'm not like huge or anything. And even if you were some sort of like genetic freak who could just build loads of muscle, well, you still don't have to worry, because if that happens, well, then you could just stop training and you'll lose the muscle. So you have to consider that too. That's why we say it's a lifestyle, because it is use it or lose it. You have to keep doing this to keep your results. So there's no such thing as just being done. But anyways, with the strength training side of things, make sure you're challenging yourself, right? Don't take it easy in the gym. Don't just kind of like lollygag and go through the motions. You should be working hard in there. The last few reps should be challenging. That weight should be slowing down pretty significantly by the time you get to your last rep. You don't have to like destroy yourself and go to failure all the time. But if you're just taking it easy, you're not giving the body the stimulus it needs to build muscle. And whether you're cutting or bulking or even just trying to maintain, honestly, your strength training doesn't really change. It's by altering your activity levels through things like cardio and your nutrition side of things that changes. So when you go into a cutting phase to lean out like you're trying to do now you need to create a calorie deficit, and you do so by reducing calories and probably bringing up activity levels through other things. Even just going for more daily walks can be extremely helpful to get some extra calorie burn that also doesn't run you into the ground so much like more intense HIIT style of cardio. The point is, you need to get moving now and be more active, and it's going to help you tremendously to lean out. You also want to make sure you're planning ahead now with both the exercise and nutrition side of things. So with your exercise, schedule in your workouts, create the plan, block off that time and say this is non-negotiable. The things that are the biggest priorities in life are the things that are going to take up your time when time becomes an issue, and the more exercise you have to do, the more time restricted you will be, especially when other areas of your life get busy. So planning ahead is going to be huge for you, especially when it comes to the nutrition side of things. Take the time to plan your meals in advance so you know what you're going to eat. Do things like food prep on the weekends where you batch cook meals and you can put them away in Tupperware, and it's just available for you to eat whenever you want. So when you come home from a long day of work or school or whatever it may be, and you're tired, maybe stressed out, it can be easy to just grab something convenient that's probably not in your best interest. But if you have that meal already ready for you to go, now it makes it much easier to stick to your plan. Now, one of the biggest, most helpful things you can possibly do to get that lean or toned look you're after is also one of the more difficult things, and that is tracking your intake. Now, am I saying that you have to track to get results? No. But I am saying it's extremely useful to know how much you're eating, to give yourself some extra accountability. And this helps you not only know if you're staying on plan, but how to make adjustments when you hit plateaus that are going to be inevitable. And even if you do want to be able to eat more intuitively down the road, this is what's going to teach you to do that. Telling someone who has no knowledge or experience with nutrition just to eat intuitively is setting you up to fail, because you have to build the knowledge base first, and that's what tracking allows you to do. Over time, you can see what's in the foods you eat. You know what portion sizes look like. You can get a plate of food and you can know what's on it and know roughly how much it is. But if you don't track and be consistent with it for a while, now you're usually left with some sort of eat this, not that kind of a plan, and it just turns into food restrictions, and a lot of times that turns into binging type of behavior because you always want the thing you can't have, and there's no such thing as foods that just make you fat. We'll get into that later, but taking the time and effort to do this now will be extremely helpful for you, and give yourself some time to get better at this. If you've never done it before, you're not going to be great at it at first. It's going to feel tedious and it's going to be frustrating, but that's the case for anything. Like if you've never played a guitar before, you're not just going to pick up a guitar and just all of a sudden just like wail on it and play beautiful music. Of course not. You're going to suck. You're not even going to know how to do it at all, but you practice, you learn, you get better. Anything you do in life, the more you do it, the better you get at it, the easier it becomes, and tracking is no different. So you need to be patient and allow you to gain that skill to not only get you better results, but also allow you to better be able to keep the weight off and be more intuitive down the road. Now, when you are tracking, of course, calories is number one. It's the most important thing, but protein is a very close second, as protein has a few benefits. One being it has an extremely high thermic effect of food, which basically means that you burn a lot of calories processing the food you eat. It's also what builds the muscle you need to get that lean or toned look you're after. And it's also very filling. It helps you feel full. And of course, the less hungry you are, the less likely you are to overeat. So you want to eat around, I say usually about 1 gram per pound of body weight. Now, don't get too tied up into being exact with this. And if you have a lot more weight to lose, you can use more like a goal weight. But whether you're doing 0.8 grams per pound or 1 or 1.2, the point is, get that protein up. It will help you tremendously. Now, what you don't want to do is crash diet. This is not how you're going to get there. I promise you, the extreme plans are never the answer. And I'm a kind of guy who never says never. I really don't. But it pretty much is never the answer. You're going to crash your metabolism. Your hunger is going to go through the roof with a slow metabolism, regain weight, and you'll never get where you want to be. So while we can do all the things that I mentioned to get the result, it's not going to do any good if you can't keep doing it, which is why I always emphasize the importance of sustainability. Doesn't mean you're never going to have to do things you don't want to do, but it is important to make sure that you can create a lifestyle out of it. Removing all your favorite foods from your diet is not the way you're going to do that. I promise you, there's no such thing as foods that just automatically store as body fat. And there's plenty of examples of people eating foods that are typically considered junk food where they still get where they want to be. And the importance of this is that it allows you to stay on plan better and not feel like you just can't have anything good until you go crazy and then end up blowing it out because you feel like you've ruined everything. So go ahead and enjoy some things you like, do it in moderation, fit it into your numbers, take things like refeeds and diet breaks to not only keep yourself in a better spot hormonally and metabolically, but also to give you the mental reprieve so you don't feel so restricted all the time, and just slow down and be patient, and in time you'll get there. But with all that being said, if you're going to track, you need to know how many calories to eat. Well, I have this video that you can check out up top next that walks you through pretty much everything you could possibly need to know from the start of your cut all the way through how much to eat, how to adjust, how to use refeeds and diet breaks, literally everything from start to finish. So check that out next. Otherwise, I think you'll like this bottom video instead, and I'll see you in one of those other videos.